Okay, this is a hybrid piston rotary engine. This one runs on gasoline. We're going to break this thing apart and show you exactly what makes it tick. It's got no crankshaft. I'll give you a forewarning. It's got no poppet valves. This is the rotary valve right here. We're going to pull this thing apart and show you exactly how it works. It has two pistons that occupy a single cylinder. And let me just forewarn you, everything in this engine rotates around a fixed housing that is elliptically shaped. This is the rotary valve, intake here, exhaust here, spark plug goes there. And that is a main bearing that supports the rotor. We're going to pull this housing off. Now you can see there's a port that feeds the center of this cylinder. Let me show you over here. That's what the cylinder looks like. There's the port. The rotary valve fits over, and you can see how that connects to the cylinder. There, the valve is open and closing. I'll show you a little bit better on this one. I think you can see it. Opening and closing. Very little parasitic loss. Got no crankshaft on this thing. What's going on? Okay, each one of these cam followers that has a roller on each side is connected to a connecting rod, connected to a piston, one on each side. The pistons are contracted, and here we got top dead center. This thing rotates clockwise, and we're going to just take it through 360 degrees and see what happens. That port is getting ready to open up. You can see that port is getting ready to come in alignment with the port on the shaft. So it's opening as the pistons are spreading apart. So 100 degrees is taken in the air fuel mixture, and that port has closed. It's gone past the edge of the port on the rotary valve. So here, after 100 degrees and another 80 degrees, it's back at top dead center. So it's taken in the air fuel mixture, compressed it, and that port is in alignment where the spark plug goes. Okay, the pistons are wanting to push apart in a violent manner because there is combustion, and these cam followers, they're either going up or down. It's not like on a crankshaft where you got a dead spot on the top and bottom. They're either wanting to go up or down, and that's how each one of them is moving 1.5 inches, and they can perform each stroke in a quarter revolution rather than a half a revolution on a conventional crankshaft engine. And you got no cylinder head, so you've taken away all the expense of the engine, and nobody's going to have any fun with that except when they have to dig in their wallet. Okay, it's going to be a lot less expensive to manufacture. Okay, the exhaust is going opening and closing, and you're back to square one. The exhaust is 80 degrees, so it's a rather quick exhaust, quick compression. So you got the long intake stroke and long power stroke. That's really where you want it. And to cool this thing, you've got no radiator, it's all air cooled. See, those fins on the cylinder, they dissipate heat. And as this thing is rotating, half of the rotor is for support for the cam followers at the shaft's position here, and half of it is to contain those little grooves, hold the separator plates in place. It's high temperature plastic and it has airfoils on it, so as it's turning around, it's actually moving air in through the openings of the housing in one side and out the other. Now this thing is laying on its side, so take that into consideration, but you can't see the other side of the engine, but they will be able to operate also vertically. Now this would be a It's so simple. It's probably got you confused by now because you can't think outside the box. Everybody's been thinking inside the box, trying to develop something around the crankshaft because there's not too many mechanisms that will turn reciprocating motion into rotary motion. This is one mechanism that will, and really doesn't have very many other uses, but a crankshaft has multiple uses, as you know by now. A bicycle, the pedals on your bicycle are like a crankshaft. Your legs are like the connecting rods. You can stand on that pedal with the pedals pointing up and you don't have any leverage. This is where you've got continuous leverage and progressive leverage. Pistons are gradually moving, so it's not a big jerk of the crankshaft like going real fast then going real slow. So your piston speed is going to be remaining the same, if not less. But it's got twice the power density. It's air cooled. Frictionless rotary valves, so you're taking away the parasitic loss of poppet valves, which would be 10 or 15% on any engine and up to 25% on a high performance engine. So what you're not losing, you're gaining. And this is just a single port iteration of the engine, but it actually could have a rotary port on each side. The first engine that I ran did have that kind of configuration, but this is just has the business end on one side, just to keep things simple, be less complicated, less expensive to manufacture. So we're getting ready to run this thing. I just got through changing out the housings. This one has a little bit more volume for the return of the oil. Now this is where the oil injector is going to, through drip lubrication, remember the cylinder, the crankshaft will be horizontal. It's laying on its side right now, but it will drip lubrication over the cylinder as it's rotating, and all it really needs to do is provide a little bit of oil for the rollers to roll on and drip a little lubrication in the pistons. Centrifugally, it's going to throw the oil back out, so I'm not even running any oil rings on this thing, which half of the friction of your pistons is through your oil ring. I don't see any reason to use an oil ring because it's just going to throw the oil back out anyway. Anyway, we're going to try it this way, and it's worked so far. And that's it. It's just it's so simple. If you think you're missing something, just roll back the tape, play it again, and you're not missing anything. It's just super simple. Super simple mechanism, eliminating expensive items like crankshaft. There's a lot of opposed piston engines coming out right now, and they've got two crankshafts and gears interconnecting them, similar to the Junkers engine of World War II vintage, and this is performing the same thing in a very simple mechanism. It almost seems like it's too simple, but it's going to provide all sorts of leverage because each piston is, okay, you've got to remember, model of combustion is outward. It's not one direction. A breech on a shotgun is containing combustion from one side, thrusting the projectile out the barrel, but similar to a cylinder on a conventional crankshaft engine. Combustion wants to go both directions, so this way it's pushing both pistons out. Each piston is pushing against the cam follower, forcing the rotor around, and it has a gradual, it's not sitting still at any point. So hydrogen would be, I think, a perfect fuel for this engine because it's not penting up combustion. Hydrogen is an order of magnitude faster combustion. The flame speed is 10 times what it is on gasoline. Gasoline is not an explosion, it's a deflagration. It's a burning, kind of like, well, gunpowder. It's not an explosion. Try to tell somebody that blew their hand off that, but yeah. Here we go. It's moving gradually. Sinusoidal motion of the pistons. So anyway, think about it.